to Nighttime at the Nerd Bar, episode 39.
Wow.
Woo! Yes,
Wow.
yes. We're coming to you
Wow.
live with some
What?
always interesting Monday energy,
Mm-hmm.
and we have a live
Mm-hmm.
chat going. So if you're watching us live, join us in the chat, and if we're later, no worries, comment down below. Yes. I'm Carrie Lane, and I'm joined by my awesome co-host.
And I'm Katie Cullen. Hi, all my buddies.
Yes, we're going to be talking Dragon Ball Superhero, which comes out this Friday.
Yep.
Overwatch, as well as Overlord. We also have an unboxing in there. So, yes.
We have
Overlord
three
season
segments.
4.
Yeah, Overlord season 4. We have 3 segments of Katie talking a lot. So, strap
Yay.
in for that. It's a big Monday energy on my end this week. So, if I fumble a couple words, that's why. Couldn't fumble it any harder than the Houston Outlaws did on Friday.
Well, we'll start with
Yeah.
things we are excited about. There it is on the guest right banner. Things we're
Yep.
excited about. So, Dragon Ball Superhero comes out this Friday, August 19th. And if you haven't seen it yet, you need to go watch our interviews with quite a few members of the voice acting cast. Those are linked down below if you're watching this later. And if you're watching it now, just go to the FANVERSATION page after this is over and go watch them because they're super funny.
Yeah.
They were very funny.
For those wondering where you can get tickets, AMC sends out these emails if you're part of their program every week, like, hey, do you have weekend plans? Hey, here's what's in theaters. The first thing was Fall, I think, with that new horror movie about people getting stuck up a pole. And then right under it, second billing right under the new horror movie for August, Superhero, right there. So AMC is like, hey, we're putting it in our email blast. Y'all should come see it. So I don't think it's going to be as difficult in the US to find yourself a showing. I cannot vouch for any other country, but if you're in the US, probably if you're closer to a larger city. I can't vouch for small city, small theaters, but check your local theater, see if they've got some showings. We know AMC definitely does.
Yeah, there's some local theaters by me too that aren't big chains and they have it. And also I wanted to add, don't worry, the interviews are spoiler free, so you can totally watch our interviews. It's both of us with the magic of technology. Yeah. We were able to talk to them. So yay. But yes, we're gonna go into a spoiler free review. There we go. Words. So don't worry, we're not gonna spoil anything. As someone who is not as up to date with the franchise, I grew up watching Dragon Ball Z. I've seen a couple of the more recent movies. I think the last one I saw was Resurrection something.
Resurrection F?
Yep. I think it was that one.
Yep.
I didn't see Broly, so I saw what was right before that. So I was not too lost. I very much enjoyed it. So you could take people to it that don't really know a ton about Dragon Ball because they have a lot of really great moments I love where they're just like, hey, we're going to explain this. Or wait, who is that? Without it feeling corny. Or at least for me, it didn't feel too much, but it was a quick hey, let's explain this real quick. And it's also some new characters. So then it is don't worry, you don't need to know who they are.
I honestly disagree on taking someone in blind.
Well, maybe. What about someone like me who's seen?
Oh yeah, absolutely. This movie was built for fans of Dragon Ball who might have been out of the franchise for a bit, for people who remember the classics, for people who miss that particular tone. This movie was built for people who remember early DBZ. This movie was definitely built for Piccolo fans. If you are a Piccolo fan, you will be well fed. This was an amazing Piccolo movie. It was a super solid Gohan movie. I thought it was going to be a great Gohan movie. It's a good Gohan movie. It's a fantastic Piccolo movie. My dude carries the story. So and things we already know from the trailers, we're looking at the revival of the Red Ribbon Army. We're looking at things that are from classic Dragon Ball coming back. And a lot of the tone of the movie is very classic Dragon Ball as well, which for those of you who watched it, read the manga, way back when Toonami gave us Dragon Ball Z and then went, oh, wait, there's a whole bunch of episodes that take place before this? We can license those too? We have to censor the hell out of them to show them to kids? Cool, let's go. So For those of you who remember the like early 2000s Toonami run of Dragon Ball, that too, you remember that it had more of a comedic tone and that it was
It is
good
very
at building
funny.
stakes when it needed to, but it was very much it was an action comedy. And that is a lot of what this movie does. It leans a lot more into the comedy bent than the action bent, to the point where sometimes it has tone issues and struggles to really establish stakes when it needs them.
Hmm.
And there are some points in this movie where it's like, these should be very high stakes, but we're still kind of randomly cutting comedy in here and it undercuts it a little bit. Like,
Hmm.
there are a few weird tone issues. And I do think that this movie is actually going to play better. Because what Dragon Ball Super likes to do as a series, it gives us these great movies and then it expands them and cuts them up into episodes and puts them into the show. And sometimes that works well for the story, and sometimes that just adds padding that it doesn't really need. Really depends on the story they're telling. This movie, I think, is going to play better as a series of episodes. Just given the way that it's built, given what it covers, given the tone. I really do think that this is going to play better just when it becomes 4 or 5 hours worth of content as opposed to 100. How was it, like 120 minutes? I think
It was
something
like
like
a
that.
2-hour movie.
Yeah, 120 minutes, give or take.
Solid movie.
Yeah, very. But I think it's going to play better when they expand it a little bit, play with it a little more, and we can work more with that comedy, but we can also have episodes that are very much about the more dramatic stakes that we have at points. So it's not something I usually say for a Dragon Ball Super movie. They're usually fairly solid as films, and this is a fairly solid film, but I do think it'll work better expanded as its own little arc in the series of Dragon Ball Super.
What do
That's
you
my
think of the
opinion.
animation as someone who's been watching it for a bit? Because I'm a little out of touch on it, and I was a little like, not really sure when I first saw the trailer. But once the movie got going, I was like, no, I'm in it. I'm all right. Yeah, I liked it.
There's some give and take.
Hmm.
For one, 3D animation is not automatically bad. We're not saying that
This is
here.
true.
That's
That
not
true,
true.
true.
And I can
There's
understand
different
why.
kinds, so
Exactly. And I can understand why they would do 3D animation here. They were actually working with it already in parts of Resurrection F and parts of Broly. So, not surprised that they worked with it fully here. Um, there were parts of it that were absolutely great. It's not jarring once you get used to it. It's well done, it's well rigged, it's well animated. Like, there are no issues with that. The one issue I had is that the cinematography occasionally went a little crazy. They really like their wraparound shots where we've got that focal, like, I hesitate to call it like the Matrix camera shot where, you freeze frame and you go around. It doesn't freeze frame and go around, but it likes to do that big wraparound sweeping camera shot. And like the first time they do it, it's amazing, but they keep doing it. So it kind of feels a little bit like lens flares in a J.J. Abrams film. And there were a few of those shots where I was like, I need you to pull back and show me the wide because I want to see the fight choreography here. The cinematography is taking away from what's actually happening on screen. So that felt a little more like, look at this awesome thing that we can do. We really want to impress the audience. Let's keep doing it. And I think that backfired a little bit. And that doesn't really surprise me that it happened in their first all 3D animated movie, because it's like, we can do the thing. Why shouldn't we do the thing? And that's when you wind up in Jurassic Park. You were so excited that you could that you didn't think about whether you should. Like, that's the
it
only
didn't
issue
bother
I
me that
have.
much. But I do feel you on.
Oh, it stood out to me.
Some fights, though, similar to like dance in movies, you're like, I want a wide shot. I want to see everything in fight choreography. I don't think it bothered me too much, but I get what you're saying.
And I mean, again, we're talking about the animation here.
Yeah.
That's the only critique I have, is
Yeah.
that they did a fancy camera angle too many times and it took away from one or two of the fights. But it's not like it was unwatchable. Far from it. And I had a great time. I laughed.
Yeah.
I enjoyed it. There were a few plot twists that were like, oh, wow, we're having fun here. And the new characters were, to a T, a delight. Absolute delight. Love these characters. Enjoy the villains. Enjoy all of them. It's a good time. I really liked them all. There were a few gags, especially with Gamma 2, where I just absolutely amazing, no notes, perfection. And let's be real, everyone in that movie killed it.
Oh yeah, dub was
because we saw the
phenomenal.
dub.
Yes,
we saw the dub
and I'm
premiere,
not normally
actually.
a dub preference person, but this one I was like, everybody knocked it out of the park. Great, solid, and like you believed everybody. Like they sounded great. Casting was great for the new characters, like the choices of what that character sounds like. Yes, so good.
Dr. Hedo was amazing. All of them were really, really good. And again, so many of us grew up with the dub, with the different iterations of the dub as well. So it's like, these are the character voices that we know. Our returning actors, of course, know exactly what they're doing. Our newer actors are doing extremely well. And for those going, okay, but Broly, though, Johnny Young, Bosch, killing it. So yeah, it was a great dub cast, incredible performances, and I have not seen the sub, so I can't vouch for it either way. I'm sure it's amazing, but like, I keep coming back to Xeno's performance as Gamma 2, and it's partially because Gamma 2, the Gammas are a character archetype and a character duo that I like, but man, he was the perfect choice. Like, all of them were amazing. Alex Lee killed it. I'm kind of dying that I cannot remember the name of the actor who did Dr. Hedo. Like, I can see his face and
Aguilar.
my brain gave up.
Zach.
Thank you. Thank you, Zach Aguilar. Also killed it. So much fun. So yeah, A+ job on the cast. Y'all amazing.
Yes, and if you are able to and feel comfortable doing so, do highly recommend with an audience. Anime movies really are the best with an audience, to hear the cheering, hear the laughing, and just to get that energy. So,
and opening weekend with an audience of fans. Yes, that too.
There is a post-credit scene, so stick in there. Yes.
The post-credit scene is also a thing where it's like, if you've been a fan of this franchise for a while, you're gonna love this. You're gonna love it anyway, but it really hits more for the, I have been in it to win it since the early 90s.
Yeah. So yes, go check out Dragon Ball Super Superheroes.
Yes.
Started on Friday, August 19th. And then also, again, go check out our interviews with the cast, linked below, but also here on the FANVERSATION channel. And also recently, we just made a anime voice actor playlist too. So if you haven't seen some of those interviews and you're interested in anime voice actors, as well as I think additional ones too, but go check out that playlist because there's a whole bunch of them. So yes.
It's a good time.
Yay. All right. So then let's get
super good time.
It is super because we got 2 supers in this title here. So
yeah, it's a wild one, but it works.
Yes. Let's get into, speaking of something like an anime. So we got Overwatch League is an anime.
Oh my God, this weekend. Okay. So we have a new meta that started this weekend. For those of you going, what the hell is a meta? It's basically the overarching strategy. It is the strategy that is played by most teams that makes the most sense and is the most, well, not necessarily the most balanced, but makes the most sense to play at the time. Because we've had some shifts. We've had a Zenyatta nerf. We've had a Doomfist nerf. I think we had a few Mercy changes. But the big thing is Junker Queen, our new tank, is now part of the meta. And if you've been watching Contenders, you've been seeing a good amount of Junker Queen meta, and now we get to see it scaled up for the Overwatch League stage. And oh my God, it was chaos. It was just complete chaos. Nothing made sense this week. It was incredible. I had so much fun. While I was also going, well, there go all of my predictions for the week. Good Lord. Nothing made sense. It was great. It's a bad week to be a Gladiators fan. It's a great week to be a Dallas fan. Congratulations to the people rooting for dark blue teams, because for the most part, you did okay this week. You did okay. If you're a Dallas fan, you did great. If you're a New York fan or a Boston fan, you had a roller coaster of a weekend. If you're a Houston fan, you're probably still lying on the floor wondering what happened. So, new metas tend to upend a lot of things. Sometimes teams that were really good in a previous meta can't get a handle on a new one very well. Sometimes teams who had no business in the previous meta show up in the current one and run train. That's actually what we had happening with the London Spitfire on the previous patch, and how a team that was not doing so well turned out to be doing extremely well. Well, the London Spitfire in this meta I have to open the results because they're all insane and I can't keep them straight. The only teams that played consistently this weekend were the San Francisco Shock, who took both of their matches, and the Paris Eternal, who lost both of their matches, including a loss to the Vancouver Titans, who 3-0'd them handily and got themselves their very first win this season. So now everyone's got a win on the board. Thank you for joining us, Titans. You were almost there against the Justice a few weeks ago, and then you gave us just a glorious C9. But good lord. Things that should have happened this weekend. Just the Boston Uprising taking out Atlanta Reign, and then turning around and losing. And no, beating London Spitfire. What do I have here? No, losing to London Spitfire. I'm looking at my Preds versus the results. Boston had a win that they probably shouldn't have taken over Atlanta, given how good Atlanta usually is. And then they got completely shellacked by London, who in turn had been handily beaten by Florida the day prior. So it's a lot of this. They're doing well one day, and then the next day it's like, what on God's green earth happened? Houston Outlaws were looking great against the New York Excelsior, and the New York Excelsior hasn't really been a good team since like season 1. Season 1, they were doing okay, and then it's been just like a lot of problems. So now they're back. Reverse swept the Houston Outlaws, which was just painful. But the Houston Outlaws picked up a new tank to play Junker Queen, and they didn't do as well in the maps that they were in, and that's life. And then New York turned around and what am I looking at? Where are my results? Lost to the Dallas Fuel, which that made more sense. That was more of the, yes, nature is healing. Dallas Fuel won a match they should have won. But then Houston Outlaws, who again, reverse swept by a team that they were ostensibly better than, went up against the Gladiators, which should have been lights out for the Glads, beat them in the first 2 maps handily, dropped the next 2, and then Houston won in the final round of a map 5, which wasn't quite a mirror of the Gladiators match with Dallas, but once again, it's the second time that Glads lost this weekend in a map 5. The Dallas game was anyone's game, but they shouldn't have lost to Houston? It's just been a crazy weekend. Like, nothing makes sense. There's an analyst who very good at the game, knows her stuff. Her name's Liz. She's very often published on the Overwatch League website. Like, she knows her stuff. And her tweet on Sunday was, for her predictions, I'm just basically closing my eyes and hitting the plus sign till someone wins, because it's worked better than all of my other predictions this weekend, which I chose by thinking. Like, nothing made any sense. Games that should have been lost were won. Games that should have been won were lost. There's really no way to figure out how good anyone is in this given meta when we have teams that can go gangbusters on one day and 48 hours later just drop everything. When we have the Atlanta Reign, who came third, get shellacked in both of their matches. One of whom was to the Toronto Defiant, which is a middling team this year. Better than they've been, but middling. Then again, the Summer Showdown finals are going to be at Toronto, hosted by Toronto. So, like, the team has some skin in the game. They'd like to attend their own event and play in it. So that may play into them. That may play into some extra motivation for Toronto. But it's been an insane weekend. We have the 2 extremes where San Francisco won both of their games and Paris lost both of their games. And aside from that, good luck. Throw lots. Put down a couple of treats and have your pet pick your matches. I put them into a random number generator. Like, at this point, it kind of doesn't matter. There aren't really any safe bets. And San Francisco's matches we're a little closer than they probably should have been. So Junker Queen meta is chaos, which makes a lot of sense because Junker Queen as a character is chaos, and we love her for it. Yeah, nothing makes sense right now. Everything is insane. We're getting a redux of that because APAC did not play this week, and they're playing this coming weekend, so nothing's going to make any sense. It's going to be great. I had a very good time. I am actually really here for this kind of chaos. I love it when it's a brand new meta. We've flipped the table. Nobody's predictions do anything, and everything is stupid. Out of a 42 potential points for pick'ems this weekend, I usually average about half right, given any given meta. I got 17 out of 42. That's not very good. For the first 3 days, I had 8 total. It was so bad. And honestly, that's the fun in it right now. That's the fun in just setting your pick'ems on fire and throwing them in the trash bin and watching it go up in flames. That's what we've all been doing. It's a very good time. Why not? Why not?
That makes me think of when people pick, like, I don't know, March Madness or Super Bowl teams or something, and they go, I just pick based on the mascot or whatever.
You might as well.
Right, for something.
You might as well.
Sure. Yeah.
There's someone on Twitter who has their chinchilla pick the outcomes of matches. We've had an octopus pick the Super Bowl. I want to say multiple years at this point. Like,
I've seen those. Those are cute and funny.
Yeah. Yeah. Like, it doesn't make any sense. And it doesn't have to make any sense. Right now, we're all trying to get used to this meta. You can be hot one day and ice cold the next. And who cares? It's fun. Yeah. Also, we have a new payload map. I love it. So, just, does anything make sense right now? No. And that's okay. That's okay. It's the narrative of mid-season madness was Great Sojourn play and C9s, and right now it looks like the narrative of the Summer Showdown is just chaos. Let's go.
Well, I was going to say, let's go. Some other thing that we're excited about. We have an unboxing.
You need to give me a minute to have some water first.
Yes, which I was going to say, don't worry for those of you here for Overlord. That will be up next. But actually, right before you get
we're
to
just
it, though,
a little front heavy on this week.
That's okay. Yeah, that's fine. But something I forgot to mention, and in a way, it would be our thing later of stuff you should check out. But I'm excited for it because it's coming up. If you are in Los Angeles or San Francisco, Atarashi Gakko will be playing this week. So go check them out on Instagram. It's going to be the Roxy in LA on Thursday. And then San Francisco, I don't know the theater, but that one's on Wednesday. And I saw them at Comic-Con. They are phenomenal and just such a fun and energetic group to see perform that I highly recommend if you're in the Southern California or Northern California area. And then if they go tour elsewhere, highly recommend checking them out. But those are their current 2 shows that I saw that. I'm like, oh my goodness. So
you gotta go again.
Yes.
Yeah.
I'm
if
hoping.
You are in Los Angeles this Friday or Saturday, Labyrinth of Jareth is happening. Big old fantasy-themed masquerade ball. Yes. Look it up, get your ticket, come join us. I will be running the dice games with the Wizards Guild.
Very cool.
And if that doesn't just tell you everything, that is a fraction of what we do at that event.
Yes.
Okay. All right.
There you go.
Right.
Unboxing. We need like theme music, I feel like.
We do. So my August Sakura Co box came in. You'll notice that we are back to the normal color scheme of peach and gold on gold, which is super cute. I do miss the blue box, but that one was specially sponsored. So we're back to normal.
It's pretty, though.
It's so pretty. They're always so dang pretty. And as always, we have our beautiful postcard art.
Pretty.
With our lovely note from the, I believe the CEO. And this month's is an Okinawa retreat.
Ooh.
You can see, so again, stuff's falling out already.
Stuff.
Yes, I removed that. They sent us chopsticks.
Cute.
Yes, and the checkerboard pattern evidently symbolizes prosperity. I did open this up and read the booklet. I always do. But that's our fun little, that's our, God. I just lost utensil. That's our fun little utensil for this. We've gotten bowls, we've gotten dishes, we've gotten glasses. What we got now is chopsticks. As always, our booklet tells us a little bit about the history of Okinawa, a little bit about the choosing of the theme. It lists everything in here along with the allergen information, and for the dishes, whether or not they are dishwasher safe, which is something I always
Important
appreciate.
to know. Yes.
And once again, we have a mystery snack this box, so it's going to be a little different
Ooh.
for everyone. And with the mystery snack, they have a QR code printed where you can scan it and get your mystery snack's allergen information. So
Important. Yep.
yeah, and I appreciate for the mystery snacks that they are able to keep the mystery, but also provide that very necessary allergen information. I love that they do that. That's so good. But we have chocolate, you guys.
Yay!
We do chocolate, we do brown sugar because it's Okinawa, and that's one of the things that they're known for is brown sugar. So we have an Okinawa cinnamon cookie. We have a brown sugar, I love these jellies. I've talked about these jellies before and how great they are in hot weather. We have
and not a jelly spread, a jelly like gelatin.
Like Jell-O. Yep. We have, you see these little hazelnut cookies with little like chipmunks on them? Look how cute that is. And again, the packaging in these is so, the jelly doesn't want to stay. The jelly can move for a minute there. Yeah, we have shikawasa jelly in here, which are like little gummies. We have, please move, Cookie. I have other things to look at. There's a blueberry pastry in here somewhere. This wound up being my little mystery snack, is that I've got little chestnut jellies. Chestnut, actually, from a previous box.
Oh.
Yeah.
Well, I was going to say, besides
your stuff that's good. Yes.
Besides your birthday month, this has to be the other best month because it's my birthday month too.
Is it? That's right.
There we go.
Yeah.
But I was like, but yours is the other best one too. So
that would be May. But yes, we have little milk cookies up in here. We have brown sugar bread of the pull apart kind. I love to have this with breakfast.
Yeah.
It's so good. You do your eggs over easy. You get your pull apart bread and then you dip it in the egg yolk. Oh, it's so good. And I know somewhere in here, and I have not dug it up, but I saw it in the thing. There's a blueberry tart hiding in here. Yeah. Yeah, there is a blueberry tart in here. I think it might be up here protected by the little plastic thing. But again, Sakura Co. just likes to send you so many snacks. There's a spicy one hiding down here that I have not pulled out because I don't like to dig too much when I have the box angled up like this, because then we have an avalanche and that's a problem. Yeah. Yep. But again, I love getting boxes from Sakura Co. I love snack boxes, for one, but I really appreciate a box that will give me a balance of things, that we have some sweet things, that we have some savory, that we have some candy and some pastry and the jelly snacks. I love that it's not all just candy. I do appreciate a really good candy box, but this gives me a variety. It gives me, I kind of want a little salty snack. Oh, those little puff pastries I haven't tried yet. Let's try those. So really appreciate Sakura Co. And of course, this is a box that's meant to be a tea service. So the tea is hiding in there, but there is tea, and it's always from the region that they're talking about. They give a little history on the tea as well, because as always, the inside of the box says, "Nice to meet you. Let's have tea." So that is the overarching theme behind Sakura Co. is that every box is a tea service. There's always enough for two. There's always enough to share. So I love it. Thank you, Sakura Co. This is such good stuff, and I am so excited. I get these, and then I have to wait to do the unboxing before I can go and decimate half the contents in one go.
Yeah.
So now we've done the unboxing. Thank you, Sakura Co. We're going to destroy it tonight. I am so excited for that jelly, you guys. It is still super hot out here, and they are so good in this hot weather.
Did you say you put it in the fridge at all?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, there you go.
Oh, my God, yes. I wouldn't do the freezer, but I love putting it in the fridge. Yeah, and then just, I take a nice little evening walk, and it's still 95 degrees out there. Come back home and be like, oh, it's snack time. I have a nice, cool little jelly, and it's small enough that it doesn't spoil my dinner, but it's a nice little cool sweet treat that feels so good. It's the adult equivalent of coming in from playing outside and having an otter pop,
There you go.
It's just a little thing, but it's so good.
Yeah. Well, I know you were talking a bunch, but I do have a question. So now we're going into Overlord. I am brand new to this series. I had never watched it before.
And then you mainlined it.
Yeah. And I'm pretty sure I had seen the artwork here and there. I wasn't, there's some anime that even if you don't know it, you've seen the art, or at least Anime Expo. I'm like, yeah, that one, sure. But this one, I'm like, I don't feel I had seen it a bunch, but I saw like this year, it was like, whoa, it's coming back. So, as someone who had been watching it, Katie, how does it feel to have season 4 be back?
I'm so happy. Oh my God.
Because it's a long time, right?
It's been years.
Yeah. Okay.
Like, I think season 3 dropped like pre-pandemic. I don't remember how early. And then, sat down, watched it all, and then got my roommate to watch it with me during the pandemic, caught her all up. So she's all caught up. So both of us sitting down this weekend to watch the first 2 episodes of this season and going, I missed these people. I forgot how much I love this show. This show is so good. Oh my God. Yes. Oh, right. It's super horny on Maine. But also, I'm a little too ace for how horny it gets sometimes. Like that's a personal preference, and I recognize that. That doesn't mean it's bad. It just means those particular parts are not for me. But nah, man, I love this show. I just love this show. And of course, we have a banger opening theme because we always have a banger opening theme.
I think I only got to hear it the one time, but I think I liked it enough. Yeah. Actually, a moment that stood out because I was like just watching it. I liked Albedo and our princess hanging out together. That I'm like, ooh, those are some unique energies that probably get along way too well. That I'm like, I'm really curious to see them hanging out. What do you think about them?
I don't really fear most characters in this show, partially because we spend so much time with our ostensible villains. Princess Renner scares me. She is an unholy terror, and I cannot wait to see her actually unleashed. I don't know if or when that will happen. I know there's a bunch of light novels, and we have not read the light novels, so please keep it spoiler-free.
And only first 2 episodes of this season.
Only for the first 2 episodes. We are going to be taking it 2 episodes at a clip until we catch up. So, yeah, I just, one fear, and it's her. I'm also very, very excited to see these two, to see this power couple, basically.
Yeah.
But one fear, and it is Princess Renner. She's a
unique one. So no spoilers if you know the answer to this, people watching later and are now. Remember during the battle in that current kingdom, there was a masked blonde that we did not see. That's not Evil Eye. Are you thinking that's the princess? Because I do.
I don't remember that. It's been my rewatch is not fresh. My rewatch of the previous seasons is 2 years old. So it's
all right. Okay, so refresh for those because I just watched it. We got live chat going on. Rab Adler says, it's cool. I'm blind on this series at this point.
Well, catch up, welcome. Dude. It's good.
So refresher, because I did just watch catching up on this show.
Yeah.
The battle that happens with Demiurge. I'm like, pardon me on forgetting people's names because it is Monday night energy for in a way. So Demiurge, when he puts on a mask and nobody knows who it is and he terrorizes the kingdom, there is a blonde girl who has a mask on, is not Evil Eye, because at first it goes, wait, and I'm like, no, very different mask, very different outfit, not the same person. And we never see her revealed, but some of her behavior, and I think she also looks at our little cute shining armor night boy, her pet,
Climb.
Who also has
their names are Climb really and Brain.
Yeah, there's some other names. I was like, wow. Okay.
We are not quite at Attack on Titan levels of, sure, this sounds like an English name, but we kind of skirt that edge sometimes.
Yeah, there's some
Climb
names.
And Brain, you
but
guys.
These are characters technically made within a game, so.
Not here.
They could have been made in there. We don't know.
Once we're done with the recap, I have theories
Okay.
about the
Well,
world building here.
anyway,
So we'll get to that at the end here.
I
But
think
I
this
have
girl is the princess.
theories.
So we'll
That
see
wouldn't
if it
surprise
is.
me.
But if you
That wouldn't
know the
surprise
answer
me.
because you've read it, please no spoilers. You can just chuckle and be like, behind the scenes. What else were some other exciting things of?
We basically have this pickup of we have this war that started and stopped in basically a day because some people here are super fucking OP, and that's just kind of how it is.
Those weird goat things. Blech.
Unholy terrors. It's like, yes, my children. I'm like, nope, nope, nope. Oh, this is what's been in the opening this whole time. Oh no. So, and again, and I told you this, and now you really know that this is the case. In any given Overlord opening, there's a 50% chance that anyone who appears in that opening that isn't a main character isn't going to make it through the season. Actually, this show does not care about your feelings. I kind of love it.
I literally just watched it and I'm like, what happened to those people? So at the end of 3, there are people hired by the other king, the Empire, to go, and I was like, oh shit, they're gonna go to our like tomb, and I'm like, oh no, you're going to that spot.
There was dead as fuck.
Well, there was 4 of them and we didn't see them die. The half-elf purple hair girl.
Oh no, they are. Our party who appeared in the opener, no, they're done.
But like, did we see them die?
They pretty much said they're not making it out of here alive because they wound up in the arena with Ainz. You don't walk away from that.
The whole but this was this is further back, so this is not part of our 2-episode discussion. But it was weird because I felt like I was literally just watching. I'm like, wait, what happened to those people? But it is true. Opening does not guarantee somebody's in it. We got
the discussion was that their deaths would be fully used. Yeah.
Gigadark says, I noticed that while catching up. Bodies everywhere. Yes.
Oh yeah.
Those are my skeletons for our Overlord. And the skeletons that are fighters. That are the level.
Yeah. So I think our biggest, but yeah, no, they did not make it out alive. I think our biggest points to hit for these episodes were the fact that trade has kind of ground to a halt in the Sorcerer's Kingdom, and that is a problem. And that we seem to be fixing it by manipulating the closest city to them, the closest territory, and that like third son of the, is he a marquis? He's a duke. He's a fuckwit, and he's not going to live very long. Like they introed him
with Albedo.
Yeah. They introed him. We got his internal monologue, and Megan and I were sitting here like, that is the monologue of a dude who's going to die in 60 seconds. And it's like, oh, he's still alive. Well, he's not going to make it to the end of the episode. Oh, he's only alive because they are straight up using him. And we are also using Crime Boss Woman, whose name I also, Signa something or other, or something, Signa something.
Snake Tattoo Lady.
Snake Tattoo Lady. Who I did not remember and only placed later, like, oh, right, the crime ring that they took over. Yeah. Using them and using this location to smuggle goods in. So like, okay, this all makes sense. This is a thing I'm interested to see develop. And also Ainz's approach to the Adventurers League, the Adventurers Guild here, saying,
have them actually be adventurers, not exterminators. Yes.
And watching the head of the guild come around from, sure, I'll let the government have it, but I'll send all of the actual people away to protect them, to, oh no, you want to actually like, I'm actually sold by your words. I'm here for this. I do want to be part of this exploration to parts unknown. And making the point of, well, yeah, if I wanted to invade them, I just invade. I've made the point that I can do that. And also very much working on all of the all of Nazarik's people kind of going, so you might still see humans like dirt, but like you still kind of need to work with them. They are all our people. And this is where I start losing words. I'm 4 segments in. Give me a minute. The dichotomy, the contrast between world domination, which was taken from one line and extrapolated by Demiurge, who is just very, very intelligent.
Wait, what?
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 What are we doing? What?
Ah!
Like, okay, guess I'm part of this now. Oh, God. And him just wanting to recreate the vibe that he had with his guild during their glory days and going, all right, well, if I make this kingdom, if I make it known that all peoples, humanoid and not, are welcome here and protected here, maybe that'll bring them back in. Maybe there are other players here with me. And this is where I get into theory territory. I'm going to put a pin in that and we will come back. But those, I think, are the big strokes that we're looking at, is this adventurers thing and the trade issues.
So do we think everybody's just scared and that's why they all don't want to come out? And
Absolutely.
Fair. Totally fair.
It's been, what did they say, like 2 weeks or something?
But also,
it has not been, it would have to have been longer than 2 weeks, but it has not been long enough for them to come to terms with the fact that there has been a hostile takeover by a massively powerful undead person who is now their king, and that they're the hero of the people. They don't know is also him, that Momon the adventurer has struck a deal with this person. Like, we get this from Evil Eye. That's the only person who could probably defeat Sorcerer King Ainz, and he's working for him.
Yeah. And
so, like, this is, and is it, but nobody knows. This is the, I can understand being a townsperson here and going, I'm just going to keep my head down. I don't even want him to look at me. If none of them know that I exist, they're not going to go out of their way to fuck me up. So I'm just...
How much do you like that the proxy Momon, like his double, is his other creation?
I am of several minds when it comes to Pandora's actor. On the one hand, as a character, just that personality type is hysterical. On the other hand, we know, and we're just going to say a spade is a spade here. There's some big Nazi imagery and some big Nazi energy hard-coded into this guy, because sometimes that's just what people are into. And I don't know well enough to know whether that is like a thing in Japan sometimes. And I can't throw stones. I have family from Idaho. Idaho had a Nazi problem before the US was aware that it had a Nazi problem. Like,
yeah, it's a good problem. Question, because I mean, Ainz realizes, like, can you let's not do that.
That's the third hand of, oh, I have made mistakes. I should never have programmed you this way. Oh, this is, like, it's played off as, oh, this is so embarrassing. But the understanding of, like, this shit isn't cool. So trying to kind of, he can't just change the code for Pandora's actor anymore. He really has to, like, change who this person is and try to encourage them to be someone different than how he created them, without saying, I made a mistake in your creation, because that's not what you say when someone thinks you are their god.
Yes.
So,
but I think he handled it really well in terms of, like, I made you, but I'd love to see you grow. So,
and just also the recognition here in character and also in the text itself, like, this isn't a good thing. Idolizing this particular sense of style, sense of ideals, etc., is not good. Like, I appreciate that they do that without, like, beating it over the head, but I do like that we get to see the, oh god, I wish I hadn't made you like this. How about you stop saluting and stop goose stepping, and I want you to become more. I want you to focus more on this part of you. I would love to see you grow and change. Like, I agree with you. It is handled well. It's hard to be like, yes, I love Pandora's actor, what a great character, without putting a bunch of asterisks there. Like, the narrative is handling him well for what he is, and he was made to be, this is an issue, we're kind of going to put a little spotlight on it and go, hey, this is a problem, this is how this person's dealing with it. Sometimes you create something when you're a kid and it's a problem, and you learn.
I think when we first met him, it was almost vague enough, but this one he started to do the hand salute. Now and then Ains is all swoop, and I'm all okay. Then they really went.
It
Okay,
was
that's
not vague when we met him in season 1.
Well,
It was not vague. It
yeah.
was not vague. They were pretty just the fact that Ainz was like, "Oh, I forgot I made you like this. Oh, this is
Yes.
not good." Like
Well, I meant they
weren't.
didn't go into it. You were overwhelmed by his goofy personality versus what
Yes.
was happening. So then you're just thinking more he was embarrassed by the personality rather than what it was going on. Then you go, oh, no.
But then we also have
But
like
that's
the
nice
goose
because then that
stepping in
makes
this
you go,
episode.
ooh, ooh, yeah.
Yeah. And just the understanding that not everything you make when you're younger is cringe, but you do sometimes in a creative bent make things that reflect a lack of understanding. That doesn't make you a bad person. It just reflects the lack of understanding you had at the time. And hopefully you have grown as a person and can understand, like, hey, I was in this place when I made this thing. I didn't understand it. Like the stuff you made 10 years ago. Well, I'm also kind of speaking to a larger experience here because sometimes you get artists who are crucified online for things they made 15 years ago and have since gone, hey, I know that was a problem. I was also 18 and didn't understand a lot of things. So I appreciate seeing that play out here. Is like, I created this when I had a certain understanding of things. This was not a good thing to emulate. And now we understand that, like, okay, really shouldn't have done this. And we're trying to fix the damage. The twist here that doesn't happen in real life is this creation I made when I didn't understand things is now a living being.
I'm just really curious how much those characters that were made and other characters can change over time. You know, like does their world building allow for growth? Because I'd say so a little bit with Nabe. Like she probably, or when Momon's doing his stuff, I don't think she'll ever like humans, but she's a little less quick to squash one, maybe.
Yeah.
A little bit.
And we saw this with Sebas too. He had a whole arc about it.
Yes.
Like his loyalty's not going to change, but he's still finding things interesting. You know?
Yes. And so I like seeing that opportunity for growth and then them going on that path.
Yeah. Because so we're keeping in mind, like, they're not AI anymore. They're not NPC. It's easy to categorize them as NPCs, but they are now fully realized people. Yeah.
Which means they should be able to change, which we hope. But
we'll find out.
So wait, what were your theories? You had crazy theories?
Okay. So this is, keep in mind that, again, my last rewatch was like 2 years ago. So there are little bits here and there. But we have this as the rare double isekai. Yes. We have had, my brain keeps saying Momon, it's Ainz now, it's both. Recognize bits that came from his game, that came from my brain just filled in 3 different video game names, and none of them were correct. Yggdrasil. We went through Aincrad and Hyrule before we remembered Yggdrasil. Happy Monday, everybody. Okay. So there's spells, there's items, there's things like that he is recognizing that people are using in this world, generally in other kingdoms, that he recognizes as being from Yggdrasil. But some of the gameplay strategies, some of the other things, he is trying to kind of force things and put names out and is getting no recognition. The flip side of this is we keep cutting away to, I don't remember if it's the Empire or if it's another kingdom. I want to say it's another kingdom because they were our very first problem in season 1, the kingdom that we protected that village from.
Yes.
And we have a dragon there, and we have an item that's been passed down. I don't remember the specific details, but I remember thinking at the time, there have been other people that came in from Yggdrasil, but they didn't come in at the same time as Ainz. So my theory, I have 2 theories, and they are completely contrasting. They're completely different. So theory number one, which I think is being a little more supported by what we're seeing here, is that we did have other people, we did have other players isekai'd from Yggdrasil, and that this happened, I want to say, a couple centuries ago, long enough ago that they were able to influence kingdoms, possibly build kingdoms, possibly change the course of wars. And that's also where we have these spells that he recognizes. It's not the same level as the players who would have come in, who might have been min-maxed, who might have been super powerful and able to affect world events in the way that Ainz is now. It's the people descended from them, the people who learned from them, who never quite have their ridiculous video game min-max skills, but still picked up the spells, are able to use them, still have the magical items, etc. So that's one theory, is that they were isekai'd into the past of this world, and that Ainz
okay,
is
sorry, I was about to ask. I'm like, wait, how could they have been there so much longer ago? But when they got in, they got sent further back in that timeline. Okay.
Yes,
okay.
so that there's
like
some
that idea.
time dilation going on, that there is a different, or that they were pulled in earlier than Yggdrasil's server shut down.
And then
because
it's like
Yggdrasil ran,
okay.
Yggdrasil also ran for 10 years.
Yeah.
So it's possible that we had some bullshit happen at the beginning or in the middle, and it just wasn't reported, and that there's time dilation in this world. We don't know. The second, slightly more batshit insane theory, and the one that I think is a lot more fun, or just as much fun, but in a different direction, is that someone from the real world got isekai'd into Yggdrasil. You know, kind of the same bones as earlier, like earlier, a couple hundred years ago, etc., learned all of the spells and whatnot, learned about the politics and everything, and then went back to the real world. Didn't have anything with them, just had what they remembered, and became the person who built Yggdrasil, putting in what they remembered, putting in all of this stuff that they learned. So that's why we have similar magic systems, except you extrapolate more because you have players that are going to level up. It's an MMO. We have all of these different races that are available to play. We have all these different things, and it's him putting his isekai, I say him, could be anyone, putting their isekai experience into this video game because it's all they can do. Like, this is how they can recreate what they remember from their experiences. So cross-dimensional paths, cross-dimensional connections, who knows if putting the magic in there invoked something. But that would also mean that anyone who was still in Yggdrasil when it shut down would have had that connection to that magic, to that dimension that actually did exist. And instead of the server shut down, the log off was complete, go back to the real world, it snapped them into Yggdrasil. It's into not only Yggdrasil, but also wholesale took everyone who was still in Yggdrasil to this new world. And that's what happened to Ainz. So we have the rare double isekai built on someone else's successful isekai. So that one's a weird theory. I like it. It's kind of it's a little nuts. It's a little nuts. And I seriously doubt that that's what happened. And I will lose my entire mind if that is the case. But I think excuse me, I think that the other players were isekai'd here, and time dilation put it so that they were several hundred years into the past makes a little more sense.
Do you think he's going to encounter other players?
Maybe. I think they're keeping that vague on purpose.
Oh, yeah.
I wouldn't be surprised if he encountered the remnants of other players.
I was going to say either it will be them or descendants.
Yeah. Because the other thing I kind of want to build into this isekai is most isekai we get, especially the video game themed ones, power fantasies. That is the whole point. You have someone who's playing this video game, they've min-maxed, they're super powerful, great. Now they actually are the hero they think they are. I'm not really talking the Kiritos of the world here. I'm talking like pulling from different media, non-isekai. Beauty and the Beast Gaston buys his own hype, absolutely certain he's the good guy, he's the hero, and is just the worst human because of it. We saw that there were those types of players in Yggdrasil. We have a flashback to times in the game where Ainz, because he's playing an undead race, is getting bullied by these players who are like, oh,
Yeah.
we're humans, we're elves, whatever. We're the heroes. You're an undead. You're evil. Like really getting into it, really leaning into that asshole curve until they're horizontal.
Yeah.
What happens when that kind of person who is min-maxed the hell out of their character, max their level, super powerful, what happens when that person with that much power and that mindset gets pulled into a world where all of this shit is real and they have the power? They're not a Japanese salaryman who kind of understands how life works at least a little bit. They're not management, but like they get what it's like to live in the real world and have a job and have responsibilities. And they're still vaguely able to get along with people. What happens when someone who is just an asshole, but is an extremely powerful asshole, winds up in this world where everything's real? How do they change the course of history in this world? Is it for the better or is it for the worse? Because they're egotistical and they think they're the hero. And therefore, everything they do is good because it's a function of them being the hero. So like that's kind of what I'm also wondering, like did we get those players isekai'd into this world? How did it factor into the world building if so? We see some of these kingdoms and these empires, we see how they work, we see what they think. So how did that change things in this world? And how does that trickle down to the time where Ainz is in now, trying to see if there are other players around and get things figured out? Like, what if he missed those players by several hundred years? And what if they were all like the terrible ones that you never want to run into in an MMO? Like, what if that? So I'm just positing all sorts of theories here. I've cleaned off all my Demon Slayer stuff. We've put that away until next season. And now it's all Overlord theories. Let's go. It's a very versatile conspiracy.
Yeah, I feel they've kept it so vague. I'm just curious how.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, the other question then would be is how long are they going to string us along before we get an answer to anything? Because it's also a thing that might never happen.
Oh, yeah. I don't care if we get answers. I am so fascinated by what's happening now and how his quest for answers and to find people who may not be there influences his actions and defines what he does, along with the fact that, again, he's in the rare double isekai, is not a god, does not have management experience, doesn't know what he's doing, is hiding his copy of...
God. Ish. Well, not per like...
in terms of like actual power of creation and knowing how to rule people.
Hold on. Yes, but no. But like two quick parallels. One, the newest Thor, God, Love, and Thunder. There are plenty of gods who aren't as active. And then also with SAO, they get to a level where yes, it is programmed, but still. But they get to come into the game as a god. They can still get hurt, but they have abilities to do things like he does with magic that is just beyond the fathomable abilities of like the regular people. Like they can fly, and the regular people are like, oh my gosh, you can fly. Or they're like, I'm gonna make we're fighting and we have to make a cavern. Like essentially earthquake, pull everything apart to keep the two bad guys away from each other. But like that's god level ability. So that's what I mean. I'm like, he's essentially the level of a god. But I like that they say supreme being. Like that's a little more like, But
and again,
for their world is god level.
We're very much getting this from the NPCs being well aware that Ainz and Company literally made them. So that's the lens that we're presented. And we as an audience also know, like, this is a normal-ass human being in a buck-wild situation who is also starting to categorize the loss of his own humanity.
Yep.
Like, he's talked about this before. So, if we never get answers as to whether, like, I'm sure we will at some point because we wouldn't be getting the cutaways in these other empires with these other characters talking about this stuff if we weren't supposed to have that information as an audience. I wouldn't be surprised if we get answers at some point, but honestly, I am perfectly happy without them. I am very interested to see how this quest for answers, how this quest to find other players and like what happens if you find other players and they're the aforementioned horrible human beings? Like, I love to see how this drives Ainz and influences his actions, and how also having to manage the expectations of his underlings who think so highly of him when he knows for a fact. I think
He's
Megan
all,
called it
"Okay,
imposter
yeah."
syndrome, but real.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, no.
He rolls
It's,
with it so well, though. This
oh
this
my
guy
God,
seems to
yes.
have done improv or something. He's all, "Yeah, that's what I meant. Why don't you explain it?"
To the kids, you know, simply, as he sits there and goes, ugh.
Yeah.
It's that and the back and forths with Demiurge, like, oh, but
Oh,
you already know my plan. Of course I already know
he's
your
like,
plan, but I want you to go over it anyway.
yeah,
And in the back going, please, for the love of God, tell me your plan. Like, I love it.
it is very
Yes,
entertaining.
and
Yes.
but anyway, yeah, I
All
love the
right.
way this series is constructed.
Yeah.
I have all of my buck wild theories here. I don't expect anything to come of them. Again, please no spoilers for the series so far or for the light novels. But I'm enjoying myself. They're weird little
Agreed.
theories, but I'm enjoying myself.
Yes. It's a
Yeah.
very entertaining show.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I was
All
not
right.
expecting to like it as much as I did, and then they waited to hit me with the gore and the violence until
It's
after
been a bit
I had
gory
already fallen
too.
in love. Oh my
With
God,
all
yes.
this fighting, like lots of blood, arms, hands cut off, and like,
Oh yeah.
yep.
Oh yeah. The goat
But I
monsters.
dig it.
The goat monsters.
Yeah.
Hoy. And the tomb raid was like,
Yeah.
all right, we are in saw trap territory. Oh
And
boy.
the weird monster that's like a erotic torture chamber thing of.
Yep.
But
Yep. Yep. There's
I'm curious to see where they go with everything else.
oh yeah.
Yeah.
Very excited. Should be a lot of fun. It's taking a lot of self-control not to mainline what we already have out, let's be real. But I love this show. And I love that at some point down the line, we're getting a movie.
But
Yep.
but no time specified.
It was confirmed. We had an announcement at least a year ago that we were getting another season in a movie.
I'd be
I
curious if the
don't.
movie is like continuation, a side story we never got, one of those kind of movies.
Yeah.
We'll
I
see.
don't think we would get any prequel stuff because we've established the
Probably not
NPCs as characters so hard that it would be really weird to go back to Yggdrasil days and have them just kind of not. Yeah.
All right. So we'll look forward to covering more. And again, we're doing 2 episodes a week till we catch up. So next week we'll go into 3 and 4. There we go.
Yes.
Words. And then other stuff you should be checking out. New show that just dropped on Netflix not that long ago. Started watching Sandman. I am about a little over halfway through. Really enjoying it. It is dry. Kind of noir-esque. So if you aren't as excited about slower burn stuff, just, pack your patience. If it is a slower burn visually, some really cool stuff, but also a lot of gore. And depends how you feel on that. And generally, I love some of the casting is phenomenal. They pick people that I'm like, yes, it fits so well. Netflix posted a side-by-side of some of the moments, and just the adaptation of it is so good. I read some Sandman like years ago, so I don't really remember enough, but I'm really enjoying it as a show. Like if you're into more fantasy, magical realism shows, that is definitely one that you should probably be checking out. And it's on Netflix, so it's easy to get access to if you have Netflix. And I think it's only 10 episodes, so not too long.
Yeah, like if you enjoy Sandman, the comic, to my understanding, you will enjoy Sandman, the Netflix adaptation.
Yeah. And if you have no idea about it, don't worry, you won't be lost. It's still very interesting as a show.
Although I will say, as someone who got pretty far into the comics and then had to stop and had to ask people, like, is it all like this? They weren't for me.
But I'd be curious if the show would work better for you of like the style.
Given how direct, it's not style, it's content. Given how direct the adaptation is and how faithful it is, like, I don't think it would work for me. And again, this is a me thing. It isn't to my tastes, and I did the thing where I stopped and I asked people who did like it and had finished it, like, hey, these are the things I'm having issues with. Does it change? And they said no. And I went, okay. And they're like, yeah, if you're not
Yeah,
enjoying it,
not your cup of tea.
don't read the
That's
rest of
fine.
it. So I will say that to everyone else. As someone who did not enjoy the Sandman comics and will not be watching the adaptation because I know that I did not enjoy it, it's okay not to like the thing. It's okay if it's not for you. And I know there is some impetus like, this is the best thing ever. You gotta watch it. You gotta. And I mean, that's great if you're into it. If you like it, that's amazing. And I'm super glad that you like it, Carrie, because I hear phenomenal things. I just know that as a person, I would not enjoy the experience, and therefore I am not partaking. And I'm saying this to people who, there's a really big thing out there and everyone likes it, and you can't handle the themes, or you don't appreciate it, or it's just not hitting home for you. It's okay to not like the thing. You don't have to feel pressured to like the thing. It's
But what
not
you're
okay.
doing right now is perfect in terms of you cannot like the thing, but doesn't mean you get a shit on it and say how awful it is. You can
It's
say
okay to not like things. Don't be a dick about the things you don't like. It's a little song on YouTube. It's very cute.
Oh, don't yuck on someone's yum. There we go.
Exactly. It's perfectly okay. Like, I didn't care for it is such a strong phrase.
I will say, I think it's like 4, the diner episode.
The diner. Oh boy, the diner.
It went on too long as a thing I'm watching, because that's the other difference between reading something and watching something. Because you can definitely like, all right, and like read faster essentially, but watching as an episode was just like, I felt they got to the point.
Kind of the point for the diner. It's supposed to be painful.
It could have been painful. Like, for example, if it took 40 per how long they were there, let's say it's 3/4 of the episode, they could have done it like at half of it, and that would have been the same feeling. But you essentially are like getting bored of like, I get it.
Say, having only read the comic for that and not watched the episode, I couldn't say. I just know that part of the point of the diner scene is this is how people be sometimes.
Oh no, they accomplished that. That's great.
Yeah.
I think that's not the problem. It's just like it felt like it dragged, and I felt like they could have accomplished it a little tighter.
Yeah,
but
and I have not seen this adaptation. I can't say on that. I have seen some of the clips, and my God, the woman they cast for Death, whose name is currently escaping me. Oh, she's perfection. Yeah. She is perfection. She's perfect.
And then the cast for Desire was also phenomenal. I really liked that actor on Cowboy Bebop. So I thought it was really cool they brought them into this, and they have a super cool kind of like Lady Gaga vibe. And I was like, yes, it's so pretty.
So it's also, if you like Sandman, do the adaptation. Watch the series. Go for it. If you don't know if you'll like Sandman, give it a try. It's okay if you don't care for it. And if you find something you like, amazing. Yes. If you already didn't like Sandman and it was for thematic reasons or content reasons and not because you don't care for comic books, like if it was a medium problem, go for the adaptation, go nuts.
There are some subject matter stuff and visuals that are intense. So
yeah. But if you're like me and the main themes and the tone just really didn't jive with you, maybe give the adaptation a skip. We curate your experience.
Got a recommendation from the chat. Giga Derek says, I'd like to recommend the movie Bullet Train, a very bloody good time. I am looking forward to seeing that. I'm going to go watch it on my birthday, which is tomorrow. I'm excited. I feel that's a movie that, based on the trailer, it's going to be a similar, like, fun, wild ride. And if you think it's going to be different, why are you surprised? But I'll report back once I see it. But yes, Katie, what about you?
It looks absolutely buck wild. I'm pretty sure that the second half of Cuphead either dropped or is dropping soon. Like within a few days. I want to say it dropped on the 12th. I might be off on that. But Cuphead has more episodes. Either they've already dropped on Netflix or they're dropping soon. So like if you enjoyed the first half, definitely watch the second. And if you haven't watched it yet, but you liked the games, you like classic cartoons, you like just if you like the Animaniacs, you'll actually probably like Cuphead. It's buck wild. It's a very good time. Highly recommended. I have not
Nice.
watched the second half yet. Again,
Mhm.
I'm not sure if they've dropped yet. If they are, I'm probably going to save it for the movie night that we do
Mhm.
weekly because we watch the first half in that movie night and just like, let's just keep it. Let's just knock it out. It's a good time. I don't really think I've watched anything new. It's just Overwatch League came back this weekend and it kind of left me a puddle on the floor and that was hysterical and I'm here for it. Like pick a team to root for. It's always exciting. It may not always be great, but hey, come be an Outlaws fan with me. Have a wild time. Being an Outlaws fan is there's never a dull moment. There's never a dull moment. It's boy does it ever it occurs. It happens. So much happens. Yeah. I feel like I should have more recommendations, but right now I'm just looking ahead to Labyrinth. If you're in the
Yes.
LA area, you should come. It's a good time. You don't have
Mm-mm.
to pull together a huge fancy costume. You can just wear formal wear and a mask. It's got a good solid dress code and it's such a good time. It is such a good time. If you enjoy the convention of spirit experience of just kind of stepping into a new place, being able to kind of start up a conversation with anyone. If you enjoy I hesitate to call it like the Disneyland experience because that's a little disingenuous on more than one front. But if you like going into some place where people will yes and you, if you like to
Mhm.
buy into that fantasy, if you really do want to feel like you stepped into a Fey realm for a little bit,
Do you
Labyrinth
know
of Jareth is so much fun.
if they require or recommend masks? The
Uh,
other kind of masks.
eye mask is required if you are doing formal wear. Face mask is not required, but it is highly recommended.
Good for people
will
to
be
be prepared.
wearing, yeah,
Yeah.
I will be wearing a face mask that matches my outfit. Vaccination
Mhm.
or negative COVID test are required for entry. Full stop.
Mhm.
Um, Yeah, and I'm fairly certain that a number of people will still be wearing face masks because a lot of the people who work in this and who attend this are in theater spaces, are in production spaces, are
Yeah.
in like really understand what it means to have a whole bunch of people together in a room all at once putting on a show.
Yeah.
So, like if you can come, if you are comfortable and it's within your budget and you really just want to step into a Fey realm for a night or two, and have a guarantee that you will indeed be able to step back out at the end of the night, which is not always a guarantee in a Fey realm. Labyrinth of Jareth is a really fun time. I am really looking forward to it. So yeah, I'll
Yes.
be there both nights running dice games. It's a good time.
Perhaps that sounds like introvert hell. You have a good time.
That's fair.
That's fair.
That's fair. That is,
Uh,
if you don't like being around people,
yes.
maybe not a costume ball. Maybe
Well,
not that.
that's okay though.
I
But
like
thank
people.
you. I like people that sounds like a fun one. Just that hasn't worked out yet, but I'm like maybe this year we'll see. Yes, but thank you everybody for joining us on this week's episode. Make sure to give the video a thumbs up. Don't forget to click that subscribe button and check out the other videos down below in the description. And Katie, where can people find you online?
You can follow me all over the social medias as well as on YouTube and Twitch at Kiaxet. That is Kiaxet. I am also on a horror channel called Silver Screams. That is silver_screams. We talk about horror stuff on that channel. We do reaction videos and vlogs on my channel. It's all a very good time. I've put a pin in pretty much everything except for like the Twitter feed because I've been doing Labyrinth prep, but like if you want to see me lose my entire mind about Overwatch League, like my apologies to everyone who followed me because they met me at the premiere. I did not prepare you for this. I was not adequately prepared for it myself, but we have a good time.
Yes. And y'all can find me online at Carrie D Lane. That's KARIDLANE. And like I said, check out the description below for our episode, our interviews with some of the voice acting cast for Dragon Ball Superhero. And then, yeah, I just posted a fun TikTok the other day. But it's always fun trying to make the transitions. And I'm definitely not as skilled as like the other people I've seen, but it's always fun as a creative challenge of like, what can I do? So I just posted one of those. But yeah. So again, thank you everybody for watching, and we will see you all next week.
Bye.
Bye.